Workers' Corner with myself, Ron McLean, and Don Cherry. Now, Don, the Arthur's report has been shelved by the Liberal government. How do you feel about that?
Well, let me tell you, this is a typical government, isn't it? They requisition a report, have everyone's input, then shelve it because they don't like the recommendations.
So, who is everyone, Don?
Everyone! What I gotta tell you, geez. Employers, injured workers, labor, geez, come on.
So moving along, Don. What do you make of the Whitmer appointment as the new chair of the WSIB?
Oh, no, you ain't gonna bring up Whitman, are ya?
Well, people want to know how you feel, Don.
Well, what a beautiful appointment that was. Here we have a conservative from the Mike Harris regime leaving her seat to take a nice, fat, juicy appointment as chair of the WSIB. Boy, I tell you. On top of that, she was the Minister of Labor at the time when they, the conservatives, introduced Bill 99. Plus, to slap injured workers in the face some more, she gets $188,000 a year salary. Boy, don't that get your goat.
Do we have a clip of that slap in the face? Well, it isn't. Isn't that a savvy political move on McGuinty's part to recruit a high-profile conservative like Whitmer to cross the floor and go join the Liberals?
Savvy political? But this is nothing more than political opportunism by McGuinty and Whitmer. A slap in the face to injured workers, says Smokey Thomas at Lapsu. Good Canadian Labour guy he is. Political opportunism, that's what that is.
Well, what about this Randy Hillier?
You had to bring up him, didn't you? Randy Hillier. Randy Hillier. What a clown, a conservative buffoon. If you gave him red hair and a red nose, plus those suspenders he wears, well, who does he think he is? Don Cherry Jr. or something? What a clown.
But he has introduced a private member's bill.
Yeah, opting out of the compensation system. So much for the historic compromise, I tell you.
So this historic compromise, where we gave up the right to sue in exchange for fair compensation.
Yeah, and I hope he's the first to get sued when he opts out. Randy Hillier. Let's move on to something else here. You get me all going now. Randy Hillier. Jeez.
So, Don, the month-long protest in front of the WSIB, the vigil on June 1st.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, those injured workers, they've been doing this for 29 years there, Ronnie. Protesting at Queen's Park. Let me tell you the story of June 1st. We got time?
Well, we're getting close.
Well, this is important, so if we go over, so be it. Now, in 1984, some letters were sent out to injured workers by a workers' compensation system regarding some injured workers' issues at the time. So anyways, these letters get sent out inviting workers to a meeting at the Minister of Labor's office. And wouldn't you know it, some 3,000 injured workers show up for the meeting to discuss the injured workers' issues. Hey, ain't that something, boy? Tell you.
Well, do you remember what the issue was at the time?
Yeah, well, it's the same as today, you know, no more cap in hand, justice for injured workers. Let me get back to my story. Anyways, there's no room at the MOL's office, right? Too small, 3,000 people. So they moved that up there to Queen's Park, there up the street, and they hold the meeting there. So since then, injured workers have been celebrating June 1st as Injured Workers' Day. And those injured workers who fought for justice and dignity.
Well, that's a wrap.
Well, one more thing there before we go. The injured workers who stayed up all night at the vigil this past year, the evening before June 1st, and then they showed up the next day at the demo and stood in the rain for 2 hours. While those politicians scurried for cover first chance they got. But I gotta say that Peter Tabbins, he stood there with the injured workers there. So, you know, those injured workers, they're good Canadian and immigrant stock, I tell you.
Thank you, Don. See you next week.
Take care, Ryan.